Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining again today. We've got a movie review for you. Well, ladies and gents, thanks for joining. Today we are going to be reviewing the movie Glowsies, a science fiction horror comedy streaming on November 1st. First, we are going to watch the trailer. All right, let's go ahead and turn the lights off.
Hey, surf's up, dude!
Welcome to Faraway Canyon. A place where you can keep a secret
There was an accident.
and bury it for 1,000 years.
It's a genuine blue site, sir.
Something happened in that mill. Something none of us can remember.
You're not thinking of going in there.
We just drove like 100 miles to get here.
What do you kids want with that old mill?
Man, we can't go down into the terrifying depths of some terrifying basement with you guys.
What don't you kids understand about federal property of the United States government upon which there is no trespassing?
Pete Leonard?
Yes.
It's an alien element, not from this world.
This stuff has gotten loose.
Woken up.
Technically, sir, it's gotten loose.
Correct. But theoretically, it's woken up.
Gentlemen,
This situation is a
Yes.
tight taco.
We don't have much time,
A nuclear strike is required.
but maybe we can stop that stuff before it leaves this valley.
Scorched earth.
Witness a different kind of horror and a different kind of hero.
Why are we running?
Instinct. We're both seeing funny things that aren't there. There must be some kind of fuse or something down there.
Yes. Yes. Hell yeah. That looks awesome. Yes.
We should keep running.
Starring James Remar,
Yeah.
Michael Dorn,
Yeah.
of course, the Glowsies.
I just came up with that. You notice how they're glowing?
It's really clever.
Glowsies. They're coming to get you. An adventure
Oh
for the whole
boy.
family.
That looks...
God gave us windshield wipers.
That looks hilarious. All right, so that was the trailer for Glowsies. I have not yet seen the film. The film will be streaming on November 1st. I am going to the premiere on November 12th. However, due to the fact that I got an early access screener of this film, I'm going to be watching it now and then immediately coming back after to do a post-action review of the film.
2 hours later.
Okay, so I just finished Glowsies, and wow, that was a wild ride. Alright, so by category, we're going to discuss a couple of different things. We're going to be starting with story, then moving on to special effects, then visual effects, then cinematography, color grading, sound editing, music, and finally, budget. So let's talk about the story first. It is described on IMDb as a group of aging military vets and social influencers battle glowing, vomit-spewing zombies in this zany, family-friendly horror adventure. And I will agree with that. It is very family-friendly. I mean, I don't know if it's something I'd show to your 5 or 6 or 7 or 8-year-old, but like your 12 or 13-year-old's gonna be absolutely fine. The movie was written and directed by Hank Braxton. Also credited for writing is Steve Hillard and Guy J. Jackson. As you saw in the trailer, it stars James Remar, who played Dexter's father Harry in the show Dexter. That's one of my favorite roles that he's ever done. You've got Michael Dorn, who plays a U.S. Army general and does it very, very well. Comedically, but very well. And then you've got James Remar's best friend's character, Tector, who is played by Ron Carlson, who did an absolutely wonderful job in this. He was very funny. But then you've got the interesting young up-and-coming cast members who play the social media influencers, and those three did an absolutely fantastic job. And by those three, I am speaking about Alexandria House, who played Kirsten, Kevin Brooks, who played Walter, and Rayon Rivera, who played Shaz. So, those guys were absolutely hilarious. I mean, they did a really, really, really funny job. Personally, I really enjoyed not only the type of writing that was written for their characters, but all three of their actual on-screen portrayals of the character were utterly hilarious. I almost spit out my drink a couple times watching them during their scenes. Also, Tarkin Dospel, who played Staff Sergeant Callahan, as well as Dan Sinclair, who played Major Lenhart. They were both wonderful together and had a great on-screen dynamic. Alright, so briefly moving on to the special effects category, I absolutely loved it. All of the special effects, specifically the practical effects that we're talking about in this, were absolutely fantastic. There were some really great gags. I'm not going to get into it, but there is a vomiting scene that rivals the vomiting scene in Team America. like it's just forever. And it was so well done. It was actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie because it was so well done. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how they rigged the gag up to the actor. But there's lots of vomiting, but there's one particular scene that is really, really, gross. The special effects were absolutely fantastic. There was lots of, silly gags, like goop flying and arms flying, just like you saw in the trailer when they hit the zombie and the, special effects gags land on the hood and all over the windshield. There was lots of that throughout the whole movie, specifically in the second and third act. It was. I mean, it's a silly B movie. The effects are not Oscar-worthy, multi-million-dollar budget movie-worthy, but they are very good for this film. And speaking of effects, moving on to the visual effects. The visual effects are really what drives this film. I would say that this is more of a visual effects driven film than a special effects driven film, but probably only by maybe 20%. So say that it is 60% visual effects, 40% special effects, practical effects. The visual effects were absolutely wonderful. They were, again, budgetary for a B movie, but I loved them. They were well done. They fit well with the movie. There is a lot of green in this film, neon glowing green that is overstimulatingly green coming at you out of the screen. So just be prepared for that when you watch the movie. But yeah, the visual effects are really, really, really cool. Cinematography, moving on. The cinematography was awesome. There was nothing particularly amazing about the cinematography. It was not a Christopher Nolan film or, David Fincher. But, I mean, it did have some very lovely and nice cinematography. However, there was nothing really too crazy, but there were some impressive shots in the film from a cinematography standpoint. So moving on to color grading. I absolutely love how this film was color graded. It was color graded in the sort of way that I would want a film like this to be color graded. All of the outside desert scenes are graded very, very warm, on the lower end of the Kelvin scale. And then a lot of the inside the mill stuff is graded very, very pale, with the green kind of taking over the vibrancy, with everything else being kind of pale and the green glowing visual effects being, popped. So moving on to the sound editing. Sound is great. Again, this is not an Oscar winner or even an Oscar nominee, but the sound was absolutely wonderful. Not actually sure who the sound editor was at the moment, but I will be flashing their name down here. The sound design was absolutely wonderful. For a movie of this caliber, it fit very, very well. And from the standpoint of somebody who's done plenty of sound engineering and editing, I personally liked it. So, moving on to the music, Edwin Wendler was responsible for the music on this film, and it was absolutely wonderful. I loved the kind of surf vibe that some of the soundtrack had, as well as, the kind of rock vibe that some of it had, and then the score parts that were meant for evoking emotion during certain scenes were also extremely well done. For a movie of this caliber, I really, really enjoyed both the soundtrack and the score. There were some great tracks that, you know, I may want to go seek out by themselves, sans the film, just to listen to on my own. So, awesome music. Moving on to budget. Now, this is something that we don't get into exact numbers ever when doing a review, but this movie was made for it's not, I wouldn't exactly call it super low budget, but it was made for not a whole lot of money. And so we'll leave it at that, for not a whole lot of money, it turned out to be an absolutely awesome film. I really, really liked it for how much it must have cost to make. Moving on to distribution, I would like to just say that this movie is being distributed by the awesome company Terror Films here in Los Angeles. And finally, before we conclude the review, I would be totally remiss if I did not at least mention that Glowsies is based on a comic book called Faraway Canyon. It's a really, really cool comic book. Please go check it out. Thank you guys for joining. This has been my review of the 2024 sci-fi horror comedy, Glowsies. I hope you enjoyed, and please go see the film and support the filmmakers, the cast, and the crew. If you enjoyed this review, please let me know I am doing a good job by subscribing and commenting. And if you wish to support me further as a creator, please tap that bell to all notifications so that you never miss any future content from my channel. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.